Hello and welcome back to the Mug Life DIY. This is Julia and I am so glad and so excited you decided to, wow, words are hard today, to stop by my channel. Today I have 8 completely new Dollar Tree and recycled DIYs, all for fall. And while I'm just rambling on, I definitely wanted to give a special little shout out to my 2 awesome little nieces who have been begging my sister to watch my channel. And I just wanted to say, Auntie loves you. I miss you. I definitely hope you guys like this. I can't wait to craft with you guys again. So I hope you guys are ready. This first one is actually a Walmart dupe. I saw which I will insert the picture also. I saw this really cute and fun mason jar chalkboard and I'm like, I can make that for $1. So I did. I took one of the Dollar Tree mason jars. This is actually back from the 4th of July and this was actually a craft fail. I originally had wanted to do something else with it and it just couldn't come together right. So I decided to use what I had, which I just painted it a really fun and simple light blue to look like a antique mason jar and added all of the details that I love while painting. And then I am just going to tape off a square with some Dollar Tree washi tape. Now I am taking a framed sign that I got, I believe I only paid like 37 cents at Hobby Lobby clearance, and I'm going to use it as a little prop for my mason sign to stand up. If you had a leftover piece of like from a picture frame, or even if you had some tumbling tower blocks, just anything if you want it to stand up by itself, or you could totally use the little top holes that are already made into your mason jar sign and have it as a hanging sign. And I did 2 coats of my chalkboard paint and I made sure that I dried it really well in between the coats, and I used my heat gun because it totally works, makes it go by so much faster. And with the second coat, it was a completely fun or fully covered surface after that second. And I just peeled off my washi tape and then I took some of my jute cord, my little string, and I tied it around the top just like it was in the other Walmart sign. And I felt like it needed just like a little bit of polishing around the edges and on the back. So I went ahead and used my white paint and I painted all around the sides, and I did a nice thick, actually I think I did do 2 coats of white paint on the back, and I just really felt like it brought it together and didn't make it look so bad. I don't know. It definitely completed the project piece and made it look so much more expensive than it actually was. Now, here is a super important step that sometimes we don't always talk about in our craft videos. For any kind of chalkboard paint or picture that you're doing, you have to make sure that you prime your picture first. So you take your chalk and you just scratch it over the entire surface and blend it in. Now, since I am making this for my fall decoration, I am taking one of the Dollar Tree little pumpkins, or you can freehand it, or you can just write out the word. But I really wanted a picture of a cute little pumpkin on the very bottom, so I just used my chalk and sketched that out, and then I also drew out the word hello, so it would say hello pumpkin. Now, I wrote hello just in cursive, but this would also totally look cute if you printed it, or if you had a really nice chalk pen, but I don't have any chalk pens on hand, but I do have some chalk from my kids, so I just took one of those and drew with it. And this is how it looks. I really love it. I think it's super fun, and I love chalkboard, so I will be able to use this year round, which is one of my favorite things to do. Now on to project 2. This is a super fun and totally easy, and I have made probably 3 or 4 of these just laying around in my house. I took one of the Dollar Tree little owl packets. These are the little ornaments that you can paint, and I painted one side black and the other side is white. And I wanted to kind of have the two-sided color owl so that the black I could use for all of my Halloween decorations, and then I did the white so that it would match a little bit better with my fall decoration. And I just strung it with some of, I actually think this is my, it's a thicker plastic kind of string. Don't know what it's actually used for, but I had some left over from another project, and then I just strung a whole bunch of my Dollar Tree beads in the blue and in the orange. Now I do change my mind later on for the pattern, so ignore what I'm doing right here, but you'll just want to string on your beads to the actual string. Then I just did a knot through my last bead, and then I also added my little tassel that I made with some Dollar Tree little, I think they're just string. I'm gonna have to look for a picture, guys. And this is after I changed my mind. I did do a fun little pattern of 3 of the little orange beads, and then I did 1 little blue bead and 3 blue beads. Anyways, yes, I restrung it later after I didn't like the random colors. So project 3 is using one of these little Dollar Tree, is this foam? Yes, foam. I'm pretty sure it's foam, guys. My brain's not functioning complete today. So this is using one of the Dollar Tree scarves as well. I really love this black and orange checkered. It's so much fun. It's really bright. And it's totally gonna go with more of my Halloween decorations, but for now, I think it'll also work for my fall. And I love an easy project. So I'm just using that scarf and I just tuck it in. I don't use any hot glue, no Mod Podge, no nothing. Just wrap it around until I completely cover my foam pumpkin. And side note, yes, my daughter is just all up in loving me right now. So you will hear her trying to be a part of this video. So mom life. And I also took one of my Dollar Tree little wooden stems and I added that into the center hole that I cut. And then I'm taking one of the Easter time white garlands, and I think this is, see, I'm just using leftover stuff that I have had in my stash. I actually believe I bought these leaves last year. So let me know if Dollar Tree is selling these again. Hopefully you guys can find them. And then I also just needed a little bit of pop of color, so I added my favorite purple raffia, braided of course, and here you go. Ignore my antique vintage radio, which I totally need to sand this bad boy down and restain it. It is definitely in need of some TLC, but I love it. I think this little area of my house turned out perfect. Now, I'm having a hard time deciding which out of these 8 projects is my favorite, because this one is a contender. This is what I'm calling a pumpkin lantern crate. So I'm taking this little crate that I picked up at my local thrift store, and I only paid 98 cents, but it was also half off Military Monday, so I paid like 48 cents for it. So I loved how it's kind of tall and skinny. I've actually picked up several of these at my thrift stores before, so I do see them quite often. And I glued on a little chunky wood stem for the top of the pumpkin. And I was attempting a little bit more of a shabby chic vibe. I don't know if I completely accomplished it, but I was trying. I added my favorite Dollar Tree lace and some little purple leaves, and even a little cutout, the die cut that I got from Dollar Tree, which I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a steampunk vibe, but totally adored it, loved it, added that to my little lantern, and just hot glued as I decided what I wanted to stay and what I wanted it to kind of move around. And I made a cute little lace bow and hot glued that to the top as well. And on to project 5. I am going to use this little calendar printout, which is, it is not the farmhouse calendar. It was, actually I think it's called more bohemian. Let me look at the calendar picture and I will tag it on my Instagram. And I'm using the October white pumpkin, which I thought was adorable, and I cut that out. And I'm using one of my Halloween signs and I just flipped it over and I'm doing my dry brush wood technique, which gives this a actual wood grain effect. Now I also went back and dry brushed a little bit of a tannish white color, and I really love how that tied in to the white pumpkin. Now I know everyone seems to be breaking up with Mod Podge, but I bought a huge container and I still love it. So I spritzed my paper, or my calendar pumpkin, as I'll try to remember to call it, with my water, and then I Mod Podged the paper, and then I laid it flat onto my sign, and then just smoothed out the edges, and that's it. So I hope you guys like that tip. It's definitely something I mention pretty much in all my videos because I'm always using Mod Podge. I still love it. I haven't broken up with it. Sorry guys, if you like to use other things, you can totally do that. But I decided I really wanted to, it was just too plain and not quite bright enough for my style. So I took one of the Dollar Tree feathers, which is in this really fun bright orangey red color, and I cut it in half so that I would have 2 feathers. This was one of the last ones I had because I use feathers year round, and I decided to go to the bottom. I was thinking up at the top, but I ended up going with gluing them down at the bottom, and I'm going to recycle this little raffia bow that I pulled off of one of my Dollar Tree pumpkins. And then I also add a few other little greenery pieces and glued those all down to my sign. Now all of my floral picks are all from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just recycling pieces that I have had from last year and the few that I bought from this year. And I also decided, hey, this definitely needed a tassel. So I'm using my Dollar Tree yarn that I bought and hauled probably about a month or so ago, and I just decided I really wanted this white to be extra fluffy. So what did I do? What every curly girl doesn't do. I brushed it out. So if you ever imagined what my hair would look like nice and extra fluffy, it would be brush it out. So I took my, actually I picked this up from the Dollar Tree as well. It is one of the, I believe it's a dog brush or cat brush. It's in the animal section, and I just kind of fluffed this little yarn out, and it just, oh, I love the texture of it. It's super fun. And I tied that to the top just to add a little bit of fun detailing at the top section of my sign. And we're getting close to the end, y'all. We're going to go to project 6. So I picked up this adorable, and I'm going to say, I don't even know what they're used for, if it is an actual gift box, but it is a cardboard box shape, but it doesn't have a top. And I picked it up a few weeks ago at a different Dollar Tree, and it's actually an orange truck. It's not red, it's not burgundy, it's not blue or green, it's orange, and I fell in love with it. I absolutely adored it, and I just knew I automatically wanted to add some fun leftover grass and greenery, and I finally found the cattails at my Dollar Tree. So I picked up 3 of those, added those to my little box, and some other little greenery picks that I had left over because I was given a ton by my mother-in-law, and I definitely wanted to use a lot of these colors, and they're just so fun and festive, and definitely a classic take on fall and autumn colors. And I'm also using something else that was given to me by my mother-in-law, is this leather cord, which I actually believe it's for jewelry making, but I'm crafting craftiness with it. I just love it. It's so much fun. It's got a lot of texture and it's just the vibes. Oh, I just loved it. So I wrapped this up at the top. If you didn't have a leather cording, I guess you could call it, some string or raffia or jute would totally be adorable for this little floral arrangement as well. Now on to project 7, and I'm just totally loving all of these really fun and easy DIYs. Let me know if you really like these fun DIYs that are pretty simple and easy to follow along with, and I feel like you can just make them so fast, which is always so great. I do love some detailed projects, but these whipping out so fast was a lot of fun. So I took these Dollar Tree cookie sheets. It comes in a 2-pack. And I had some left over actually from a project that I did last year, and I saved the extra strip or extra cookie sheet. So I cut them down to as even as I could strips because I did not measure them. So I kind of just eyeballed the thickness. And then I glued them into circles and then glued them to one another, crisscrossing the pattern as I went along. I feel as though I did not explain that at all, but I hope watching me explains what I actually mean as I go along. Now, right here, you might notice that I'm kind of just curving the cookie aluminum tin sheet, and I feel that just rounded out the shape of the pumpkin really well. So I just kind of used my finger and curved it as I went. And I don't know, I believe I ended up using 4 of my strips, and I had a lot left over, so I might try to make another one and paint it a different color so that I have a set of them. Or I don't know, this was a really fun, really easy project. And as long as you use the low setting on your heat gun, it's really not even, you don't burn yourself. It's great. So definitely just use a lower setting and go slow, and your pumpkin will just come along really great. And I took one of my fatter strips that wasn't quite the same length as the other ones, and I cut a little leaf shape out of it and glued that to the top. And then I am taking one of the borders of the cookie sheet, and then I'm just using my paintbrush to kind of help roll it along to make a little chunky little stem that I'm going to glue to the top of my little tin pumpkin. And of course, I didn't quite like the shiny silver effect, and I don't know why. I didn't feel like going outside and spray painting because I actually think I did this project at night when my daughter and all my kids were asleep. So I just used some of my acrylic paints and kind of dry brushed on over top of the tin and just kind of gave it a layered effect. I did some of my gold color. I did a little bit of my brown over top just to kind of give it an aged look. And I really like how these 2 layers on top of each other really came together. Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that
it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time.
And here's another unfinished project from last year. If anything, I am saying I am finally accomplishing projects I've wanted to do for quite some time. Anyone else? Hand raise emoji. No, just me. Sometimes that's how I feel. I always have so many projects that I want to accomplish and only finish maybe a third of them. Probably, honestly, only a fourth. So this is using one of the little Dollar Tree coffee MDF signs. I, as you can see, started the project and did not finish it. So I am finishing this project from beginning to end. So I'm taking my favorite scrapbook paper that I got, which comes in, it's the autumn pack from Michaels, and I've used it in several of my projects. I used this little blue color, cut it out, and then Mod Podge it onto my little sign. Then I'm taking, yes, this is part of my daughter's diaper box, and I'm cutting that down to size. And then I'm ripping off the front part because I want it to look like a little coffee holder. And just think Starbucks, the little sleeves that make sure you don't burn your fingers. So I'm just peeling that back, and then I'm going to Mod Podge that to my little coffee cup. And I feel as though I might get some backlash from this, but I am not a pumpkin spice latte girl. I am a chai latte. I do love some chai, pretty much anything chai, that's me. So I did kind of still want to have a fun little pumpkin fall vibe, so I added one of my Dollar Tree pumpkin decals to it, and I just love how this turned out. My coffee bar is just coming together. I love how all of my projects go together. They're not quite matching, but I don't entirely ever match anything, so I really think this just screams fall. I love my little tin pumpkin. I can't wait to make more of these, and I really hope that you guys can find these little and I still don't know what to call it, a little pumpkin box truck crate. No, anyways, I hope you guys can find these in your stores. I really hope you guys enjoyed all of these, let's see, a whole bunch of fall DIY crafts today. Let me know which one is your top favorite. Maybe it's the little tin pumpkin, or maybe this little white pumpkin. Let me know down below, and I will see you guys next time.